ours, and it's our job to defend the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I understand that we don't have guns in the UK, that is true, but we don't have mass shootings either. Children aren't scared to go to
You
school.
have mass stabbings, lady. You have all kinds of murder, and you've got laws against
nothing
that.
like the same rates
Well,
here.
you can go back to your country and worry about your no guns.
That's very kind
We
of
like
you.
ours here.
There seems to be no bottom to the well of stupidity that comes from the very stupidest of those among us. And it's uncanny that the very stupidest among us seem to always be in power. It's almost like you gotta be stupid to get power. I mean, just look at this short yet incredibly powerful clip we just saw. Powerful for the level of its stupidity. I mean, can you believe your very eyes? 'Cause I can't. Is that man really wearing a powder blue suit in the House of Representatives? Trying to be taken seriously? I'm sorry, that's obviously not what the major part of this clip is. The thing obviously we can't take our eyes off is Lauren Boebert in the background, staring into the distance, focusing as hard as she can, trying with all her might to come up with a coherent thought. But she was unsuccessful. And also there's another thing in the clip. It's the mouth talking in the front side there, responding to a British journalist saying, sure, we don't have guns in our country, but we also don't have mass shootings, to which Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're the same person. One's blonde, one's brunette. It's like a flavor pack. It's choose your airhead of your choice. Shouts back, well, you have mass stabbings, lady. She literally took a second to think about it. And the best she could come up with was, well, you have something that's way less bad that I'm presenting in a tone of voice that makes it seem like it's exactly the same, lady. Dummy Taylor Greene then follows up her own stupid statement with the next level of proof of her inane argument, which was, and all other kinds of murder. Oh, why, that is so true. While we here in America have violent gun murder, where the weapon of choice can be used to indiscriminately kill lots of people in a short amount of time, other places, like the United Kingdom, have other kinds of murder, like slower, less mass type of murders. You not only have mass stabbings, lady, you also have pillows in your country. No one's trying to ban those. Occasionally people get smothered by them, and you can be very slowly killed one at a time, usually in very old TV shows that couldn't think of better ways to kill people in them. This seems like a silly example I'm making, but it literally is the example that very often people make in explaining why guns are not worse than other things that can kill people, is that other countries have those other things. Yeah, that's true. And once again, those things don't kill as many people. Those things aren't as scary. As a British journalist says, knives don't make kids scared to go to school. They probably aren't even scared of using knives during their school lunches because the food is very soft in England. It needs to be. The teeth there are very weak. And when this nameless British voice of reason in the back of the room retorted to Marjorie Taylor Greene, somebody so stupid that he doesn't deserve 3 names, let alone 2 or even 1, and MTG makes her sound far too mysterious, the British voice of reason shouts,
You have all kinds of murder, and you've got laws against
nothing
that.
like the same rates
Well,
here.
but not at nearly the same rates. An excellent counter-argument to the point that Boebert, whatever her name is, Greene, they're the same person. That Greene said, well, you have all kinds of other murders. She says, but even if that's true, we don't have nearly the same amount of it. Not as much, not as frequently. People aren't as scared of it. The best Greene can do to reply is, yeah, well, you can go back to your country. We like it here in ours. Who do? You? You like it here in ours? Because you get to shout stupid stuff and not get punished for it? A lot of us hate that you're in ours. We tell you to go back to your own country. Marjorie Taylor Thomas, I loved you on Home Improvement. You've been downhill ever since. Unfortunately, you're not from anywhere else. No other countries will take you. The best and boldest part of this clip is right after MT Genius shouts out, and Genius is said sarcastically there, shouts out, we got mass stabbings, lady. A person in the background laughs. Right in her face.
You have mass stabbings, lady. You have all kinds of murder.
And while this person wasn't trying to be bold or brave, they just couldn't contain the fact that they were in front of such idiocy and it spontaneously came out. It's brave because that's the one thing that perhaps can start shaming these idiots, is to laugh in their stupid faces. We need to start doing that much more often. Every time they say something inane, stupid, indefensible, or just plain dumb, laugh at them.
I don't take a damn aspirin, you know? I don't do it. I'm not doing it. I will not be forced into these drugs where they're going to kill people.
We laugh at them privately. Maybe if we do it to their face, they'll start second guessing what they say a little bit and stop making our brains slower and slower on account of their sheer stupidity.
I can't believe the voting bill didn't pass. Now Republicans are going to block minorities from voting. How are they going to do that? Well, they're going to make the voter ID restrictions harder. How does that suppress minority votes? Well, because the way they enforce it, like your address on your voter registration has to match your ID. How does that suppress minority votes? Because, it has to be an exact match. How does that suppress minority votes?
Uh-oh, this is a classic example of a right-winger straw man argument. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he did not have this conversation with a Democrat. Buddy, if you did, I apologize, that person was an idiot, but more likely, you just didn't understand the Democrat you were talking to because you're an idiot. Let's talk about what a straw man argument is, so you can recognize it and combat it when you're in the wild. A straw man argument is when, rather than address your opponent's actual arguments, you make up a weak and distorted version of their argument, or a straw man, and you tear that straw man apart. That way you never have to encounter their actual argument. Because voter ID laws are not about matching the carpet to the drapes or whatever he said. Voting is a right. There shouldn't be barriers between you and your rights. Period. Voter ID laws target the 21 million Americans who don't have the specific type of voter ID that they, on the Republican side of the aisle, deem to be the end-all be-all of whether or not you can vote. And that includes, lo and behold, 25% of African-American voters as opposed to 8% of white voters. They are annoyingly strategic about what kind of IDs are okay. For example, in Texas, you're allowed to bring your concealed weapons permit to the polls because Republicans tend to have those, but you can't bring your student ID to the polls because students are more likely to vote for Democrats. Also, a lot of the IDs they say you need to bring cost money, and that's essentially a fee to exercise your right, and it shouldn't cost you anything to exercise your right. That's not how rights should work. Also, it's not solving an actual problem that exists. The only type of fraud voter ID laws would prevent is when you impersonate someone else. How many times has that happened since the year 2000? There have only been 31 credible allegations of that out of the billion votes cast. Yeah, they refer to this as the solution in search of a problem. The only thing it solves is voter turnout. Republicans strategically try to reduce voter turnout because the more people that show up to the polls, the more likely it is a Democrat is going to get more votes. It's just that simple. So no, it's not because of whatever you said, McChonks. Can't believe that's your name. Your name is misleading. McChonks. I expected you to be some kind of lovable, chunky Scottish dog, but instead you're a unlovable government employee. You're wearing that uniform. Are you making videos like this on the job? Also, why can't I see up your nose? I'd say I can see your brain, but thank God you don't have one.